he or she has extremely expensive taste is not really the ultra luxury enthusiast that you expect them to be. What if your aesthetics could be built on items predominantly from other brands? This is what Desnardos has been using, and he's a pioneer among dozens of other creators using other brands and other products to move forward their brand and their products as well. So, how can you take your love for buying Rolexes, clothing, cars, watches, technology, and turn it into a successful branding campaign and a successful business? To this day, our most watched YouTube video is "Your brand is a Pinterest board." I think it is safe to say that a lot of people agreed and resonated with our encapsulation of the word and the term aesthetic or aesthetics. It's almost like pop culture slang for a collection of items, products, visuals, ideas, songs, smells, tastes, whatever, to describe a representation of people, companies, brands, lines of products. So it's almost defining itself in some sense with a collection of whatever visuals it might be. As a quick example, imagine you go on Pinterest or even Google search, Google Images, and you type in running aesthetics or running aesthetic. If you are unaware of what the search term aesthetics will add to your search criteria or the final results, then you might be surprised that it isn't something ultra specific related to the two words running aesthetics. And in fact, it could be a collection of many, many different things, from products to looks to outfits to collectives and people running via running clubs and locations and so on and so forth. And some brands are actually using this to their advantage, and brands we've covered on this channel before. Actually, for the sake of the exercise, let me really quickly pull it up on my phone. And if I go on Pinterest, I wonder what will come up if I type in running aesthetic. So I am seeing a lot of running people and a lot of products, shoes, first meant sign of UVU. We've covered them on this channel before. Then we're seeing a little bit of different locations with captions. Again, UVU, we see represent there as well on the same screen. Hybrid Athletes Club, so we see a little bit of probably advertising for someone. Now that we got that out of the way, it's time to look past the initial search. It's time to dive deeper and deeper. Let's see what specific products or items come up when you look for a certain aesthetic and why that happens every single day. I thought having an Arc'teryx hat on the entire time would be cool because they're in this video, but I do look a little bit like a snow elf wearing a t-shirt and a hat, but bear with me. All weird tangents aside, let's talk about what makes these brands stand out the most. I'd wager that most of you will say it is the quality of the product or the different lines of products these brands represent. If you are not part of the most, well, you're ahead of dozens of steps of learning to be a marketer or an entrepreneur. I won't deny that Rolex are masters at what they do, or AP or Richard Mille, and of course Rimowa and Arc'teryx make great quality products for their specific price ranges, but they certainly make you think twice before committing to purchasing an item from their brand. And surprisingly enough, it's done totally on purpose. But my answer to why these brands actually stand out the most is going back to what we already discussed on this video. They outlive product categories. They even outlive the idea of trends. They outlive the ideas of pop stars, icons, and so forth. They've really embodied the term aesthetic and certainly specific lifestyles. The truth is, it was never accidental. All right, let's get close here and let's get a little bit more real. The reality is the whole idea of pricing out and creating this marketing form of scarcity is, again, very purposeful. There's a reason that they've made, not only these brands, but other ones as well, they've made these products unavailable in terms of price ranges to even a lot of the middle class, although it's completely up to you how you spend your money, and I guess a lot of people in the middle class do end up purchasing these items. But my point is that they want to reach as much representatives and almost ambassadors of success as they can, and in a sense price out those that don't represent real success, real old money, real new money, or whatever terms might be trending. And surprisingly, as I was scripting this video, I pivoted from the original idea that I wanted to talk about for this section. And that idea was, in very short form, I was going to say they banked on the idea of scarcity and they hit the jackpot. But I got another idea, and I feel like it is a much better encapsulation and summary of what I wanted to convey. The real truth laid behind this abstract idea of inspiration. See, it isn't just scarcity that makes Rolex a great brand. It is the legends who wore the watches decades ago, and for the consumerists among us, it is the success and the traditional vision of success that watch and that brand might represent. And it doesn't matter if it's a $10,000 Rolex or a $150,000 Rolex. It's all the same, just on different levels. The more expensive it is, the more expensive it looks, debatably, the more inspirational it is for the masses. And we all know everyone loves their fair share of success. The effects of seeing these luxury items and brands and content is actually incredibly influential on you, the viewer. Because once you've set a certain value or a certain criteria to these items, whether it is greed, success, style, whatever it might be, it's very hard to forget that definition for yourself. I put this part in the middle of the video because I truly think it is one that will be a little bit more, I guess, on the edgier side. The entrepreneur who seems like he or she has extremely expensive taste is not really the ultra luxury enthusiast that you expect them to be. The items around them reinforce the aesthetic that they're building, the ultra success case. Multiple phones, $1,000 laptop sleeves, multiple cars, dozens of pairs of the same shoes, and watches galore. And while some might truly be enthusiasts of these different items and products they're purchasing, you can analyze the social media scene for yourself. And either watch collection is hitting some record high in terms of a hobby, or there are a lot of people that are using the watch to make and build an image of themselves rather than really enjoy the craft. One of the most popular phrases and terms, and I'm sure everyone who's watching this video has seen it, is old money aesthetic. I want to ask you, was it by accident that this trend rose to popularity, or was it in a dark, faraway room in the executive offices of brands like Ralph Lauren, Loro Piana, Bentley, Rolex, that some executives got together and said, hell, it would be an amazing way to bring out more marketing and more limelight for our products? If you're that executive, a round of applause, because you have defined the visual identification of success for like half a dozen price brackets and price ranges, from $100 to $1,000 to $100,000 and upwards to the millions. And some of these items and brands are literally working out of the same factories in the same locations. And I don't blame you. I mean, you look at all these creators and they're wearing their Loro Piana loafers and that $50,000 Rolex, and although you might not be greedy, it does have some sort of representation of success to you, and you can understand that if they can afford this, then they can afford the other pleasures of life. And the other thought that comes to mind is, why not try it now? Why not go for not the $50,000 Rolex, but the $5,000 Rolex? And if it's not Loro Piana, then maybe it's Ralph Lauren, and so on and so forth. And although I have zero ill intent for those that decide to style their looks or actually make an effort and put themselves together, but there must be some sort of separation between aesthetic you've been served on a macro and micro level and aesthetic that you create on your own time, individuality, and on your own level. Are you being served in a sense, or are you creating your true and honest personal brand and reflection of your values, of your success? place and where you are at the current moment. When people search your name and pair it with the word aesthetic, will it be a collection of product photos and the idea of fake it till you make it, or will it be a true reflection of who you are, were, or will become? That was a hard video to record, simply because I do think there are quite a lot of counterpoints to what I said, and I myself am a big fan of quite a lot of the brands I mentioned. And I think the two takeaways for this video is either you're more on the side of, I don't know if humility is the best word for it, but you're not falling into the trap of aesthetics and the lifestyles built out by a lot of these brands, like, for example, the idea of old money, and you're just going on your own way. You like whatever products you just see in front of you. That's totally fine. On the other hand, there is a very viable opportunity to promote yourself in vlogs and videos and photo content by using very relevant objects to quite a lot of people. One that I do want to point out is this microphone. I have seen dozens of creators use various microphones and talk about the same thing, and they've run tests, and then they would use this microphone, which is the most trendy one, the most mainstream one, and they go on to have double the success in terms of viewership, engagement, reactions, and just perception of their videos. See what effect it has on you. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you very, very soon.